But handing that person, here you go, you can do whatever you want. No, it doesn't work that in the industry. We've come to a very, very dark place.
That comment hit live on national TV in a room filled with some of the biggest, most influential names in Hollywood, and the reaction was impossible to miss. Absolute silence. In a place where people usually laugh, clap, or play along, nobody seemed willing to touch it. The moment hung in the air, making the atmosphere feel awkward and unusually tense. For years, one man kept sharing a similar message, but the industry's response spoke volumes.
It's like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
Shining a light on something they don't want shined on.
Your own way here, in your own plane, didn't you?
Instead of serious discussion, there was distance, quiet pushback, and talk that he was difficult to work with. Behind the scenes, studios appeared cautious about attaching themselves to projects linked to his name. The whole situation painted a picture of an industry that can feel closed off, complicated, and packed with unspoken pressures that rarely get discussed in public. This is the same actor who earned widespread praise for portraying one of history's most important figures on screen. Yet now he's choosing to speak openly and directly about what he believes takes place behind closed doors, far from the cameras and red carpets. His comments sparked attention because they focused on parts of the industry that rarely get discussed so publicly.
Do you want to host the Golden Globes? All that stuff I said in the show was true. I said, oh, I'm going to write my own jokes. Right? And I thought, who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room or the 200 million people watching at home?
At the same time, a British comedian was delivering sharp, headline-making jokes from the Golden Globe stage. His remarks took aim at Hollywood's biggest players in a bold, no-filter style that clearly wasn't designed to win over the powerful people sitting in that room. Meanwhile, one of the most influential figures in daytime television was quietly building a worldwide brand around one simple but powerful message: be kind. But one part of these discussions often gets missed completely. Before connecting names, reports, and timelines, it's important to understand the environment where many of these moments played out. The setting matters because it helps explain why certain comments, reactions, and headlines drew so much attention in the first place.
Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
Every January, Hollywood comes together for the Golden Globes, one of the entertainment industry's biggest events. The room is packed with actors, producers, executives, and key decision-makers who help determine what projects get made, who lands major roles, and which stories reach audiences around the world. These are the people widely viewed as having major influence over careers, reputations, and the direction of popular culture. They sit at elegant tables, share drinks, and smile for the cameras with the kind of confidence that comes from years in the spotlight.
A light on something they don't want
To viewers at home, it creates the image of a glamorous celebration where everyone is united and enjoying the moment. But behind that polished presentation, the room is also filled with some of the most powerful figures in entertainment. For years, event organizers kept bringing back one particular host to lead the night, a British comedian known for his fearless style. His approach was simple: say what others wouldn't, push boundaries, and deliver jokes that often left the audience stunned and talking long after the show ended. He never seemed overly concerned with protecting industry relationships or preserving special access, and that's exactly what made his appearances stand out from almost every other moment on that stage. While the celebrities, executives, and publicists filled the room, his focus often appeared to be somewhere else entirely. Nearly 200 million people were watching from home, and that was the audience that mattered most to him. It wasn't the famous faces sitting at the tables, the producers making deals, or the publicists managing reputations. It was the everyday viewers who had no entry into those private events, exclusive gatherings, or behind-the-scenes conversations. Most people only see the carefully crafted version of Hollywood that gets presented to the public, polished and packaged for maximum appeal.
From the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't, go into her office. It was very nerve-wracking, very stressful. We all walked on eggshells all the time.
Year after year, he used that massive platform to deliver observations that grabbed headlines and sparked debate. His comments often offered viewers a perspective that felt less rehearsed and less controlled, giving the audience at home a glimpse of the culture, dynamics, and tensions that many believed existed beneath the industry's polished surface. His style stood out because it didn't follow the usual comfortable script of industry praise and celebration. Instead of simply joining in on the applause, he often brought a more critical and unpredictable energy to the stage. That approach grabbed attention fast and sparked conversations that stretched far beyond the ceremony itself, keeping people talking long after the event ended.
It's a phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she...
If you go back and watch those moments today, pay close attention to the reactions in the room. Watch where the camera moves, notice how facial expressions shift in real time, and look at how the atmosphere seems to change after certain remarks. Some viewers later argued that a few of those comments felt more pointed and more serious than the typical jokes usually heard at award shows. The response inside the room reflected just how unexpected those moments were for many of the people in attendance. There were reactions that ranged from nervous laughter to visible discomfort, making those exchanges stand out from the rest of the evening. For some viewers, the tension became almost as memorable as the comments themselves. One line in particular, "I know he's your friend," caught attention even without a specific name attached to it. The remark stood out because it hinted at a larger conversation rather than focusing on a single person. It didn't rely on detailed explanations, as many people believed it was referencing broader industry discussions that were already being talked about publicly. Reports and public commentary have often suggested that influential social and professional circles in Hollywood can overlap significantly, and some audience members may have interpreted the reference through that wider context. That may help explain why the reaction in the room appeared tense and reserved instead of openly amused.
I am that person that you see on TV. I am also a lot of other things. Sometimes I get sad, I get mad, I get anxious, I get frustrated, I get impatient, and I am working on all of that.
When comments touch on sensitive topics or widely discussed industry issues, audiences sometimes respond with silence rather than laughter, and that reaction can become a story of its own. Moments like that don't always land as traditional jokes. Sometimes they come across as pointed observations that cause people to pause, exchange glances, or simply stay quiet. In those situations, the silence can feel just as noticeable as the remark itself, adding another layer to the conversation and fueling debate long after the event ends. Now turning to another figure who has spoken out in a very different but equally persistent way. Caviezel is a well-known actor recognized around the world for portraying a major historical and religious figure in Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ. The film became a massive global success and left a significant cultural impact that is still discussed today. Following that period, his career appeared to be gaining strong momentum, with growing recognition and new opportunities across the entertainment industry.
From Rupert Murdoch at Fox to every major studio, if you touch this thing, you will be out. You will be done. You'll be finished in 3 years.
Many observers viewed him as an actor whose profile continued to rise after the success of his earlier work. Years later, he became involved in a film project called Sound of Freedom, which was based on the documented story of a former federal agent who investigated serious crimes against vulnerable people in different parts of the world. The movie sparked widespread public discussion and drew major mainstream attention to issues that had often received limited focus within large entertainment conversations. During production and throughout promotional interviews, Caviezel spoke openly about how the subject matter had affected him on a personal level. He explained that learning about these cases had left a lasting impact on his perspective. As time went on, he began discussing the topics connected to the film with greater directness and more detailed commentary, making his views a significant part of the public conversation surrounding the project. At first glance, it would seem reasonable to expect that a film focused on serious humanitarian concerns would receive broad and visible support across the industry. On the surface, it appears to fit the type of project that major studios and entertainment companies might publicly endorse and promote. However, according to various interviews, public statements, and reports from people associated with the production, the situation was more complicated. Some individuals connected to the project claimed that major studios showed hesitation when it came to becoming involved. Those accounts suggested there was caution around funding, producing, or heavily promoting the film, creating questions about why support appeared more limited than some expected. It is important to note that these claims have remained the subject of ongoing debate.
These things you cannot handle. I'm a firm believer in that.
There was a moment I was with one of my really dear friends and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know.
While people involved with the project have shared their perspectives publicly, many of the broader allegations about industry-wide resistance have not been independently verified. Even so, the discussion itself attracted significant attention and became part of the larger conversation surrounding the film, its message, and its unexpected journey to audiences around the world. According to accounts shared by some people connected to the project, the response wasn't described as an outright rejection. Instead, they characterized it as a more gradual and subtle distancing, with organizations choosing not to become closely associated with the film. Those claims have been widely discussed, though interpretations of the situation have varied. Despite the reported challenges, the film eventually reached audiences without the backing of a major Hollywood studio. Produced on a budget that was far smaller than many large-scale studio releases, it went on to deliver an impressive box office performance. Reports indicate that the movie earned more than $250 million worldwide, a result that surprised many industry observers and generated major headlines. That outcome attracted significant public attention and sparked ongoing debate about the difference between what audiences were willing to support and what major entertainment institutions chose to invest in or promote. For many commentators, the film's success became a talking point that extended well beyond the movie itself. Caviezel continued speaking out consistently, repeating his view that Hollywood can be a very dark place, and returning to that theme in multiple public appearances and interviews. While some people reportedly brushed off those remarks or disagreed with them, others listened closely and viewed his comments as part of a larger discussion about how the entertainment industry operates. A recurring point in his public commentary was the idea that major systems and institutions often function according to their established structures rather than simply breaking down or failing. He argued that influential organizations can be cautious when facing scrutiny, may be inclined to protect established interests, and often play a significant role in determining which stories receive widespread attention and which remain largely out of the spotlight. His perspective suggests that people who criticize powerful institutions at an early stage can sometimes be labeled as difficult, controversial, or unreliable, especially when those criticisms challenge established systems. Whether people agree with that view or not, it became a consistent theme in how he described the relationship between influential organizations and those who question them publicly. Now, shifting to another major figure in the entertainment world, there was someone who built an entire global brand around positivity, encouragement, and kindness. Her daytime television show reached millions of viewers and became one of the most recognizable programs on the air. The message, "Be kind," wasn't simply a slogan or a marketing campaign. It became the foundation of her public image and professional identity. It appeared on merchandise, in show introductions, across promotional materials, and throughout countless public appearances. Over time, she became one of the most trusted and widely recognized personalities in daytime television, known for bringing warmth, enthusiasm, and an image of genuine compassion into viewers' homes on a daily basis. Her reputation became closely tied to the uplifting message she shared with audiences around the world. Then, in 2020, the conversation took a dramatic turn when multiple former employees spoke with major media outlets, including BuzzFeed, about their workplace experiences. Their accounts received widespread attention and quickly became a major entertainment news story. According to those reports, several former staff members described a workplace environment that they believed did not fully align with the positive public image regularly presented on television. The contrast between the show's well-known message and the experiences shared in those interviews became a major topic of public discussion and media coverage. The accounts differed in their individual details, but many shared a similar theme: concerns about the workplace culture behind the scenes of a show whose public image was built around positivity and kindness. As more people came forward with their experiences, the discussion grew beyond isolated complaints and became a widely covered media story. One former producer who had spent years working on the program publicly shared their perspective, and those statements, combined with reports from other former employees, helped fuel a sustained public conversation. Much of the attention centered on the perceived gap between the show's uplifting on-screen brand and the workplace experiences described by some staff members. Coverage of the controversy included strong and highly critical descriptions from certain former employees, with terms such as toxic, phony, hypocrite, and liar appearing in reports about the allegations. As the story gained momentum, concerns about workplace conditions became a major focus of public discussion. In response to the volume of complaints and the consistency of issues being raised, Warner Media launched an internal investigation to review the workplace culture and the claims that had been reported. Following the review, 3 executive producers associated with the show were removed from their positions. The decision drew significant media attention and intensified the public conversation surrounding the workplace concerns that had been raised. The reported allegations included claims involving inappropriate workplace conduct, discrimination, and management issues that some employees said affected the overall work environment. According to various accounts covered by major media outlets, multiple individuals described a culture that they believed conflicted sharply with the positive values and messaging the show presented to the public. That contrast became one of the central themes of the controversy and continued to generate widespread discussion. In September 2020, she addressed the controversy directly on air, speaking publicly about the reports for the first time. The moment attracted major attention because viewers, employees, and media outlets had been waiting to hear her response to the growing discussion surrounding the show. Critics argued that the statement did not go far enough and did not fully address some of the specific concerns that had been raised. Several former employees also said publicly that they remained unconvinced by the response, keeping the debate active long after the broadcast aired. The show ultimately came to an end in May 2022 after nearly 2 decades on television. Its conclusion marked a major turning point in daytime TV and sparked widespread commentary about legacy, public image, workplace culture, and the challenges that can emerge when a brand faces intense public scrutiny. In the months that followed, additional developments involving people connected to the show attracted significant media attention and kept public interest focused on the broader story. Several events became major news topics and were widely discussed across entertainment outlets. In August 2022, actress Anne Heche, who had been in a highly publicized relationship with Ellen from 1997 to 2000, was involved in a serious car accident in Los Angeles. Over the years, Heche had spoken in interviews about the impact that relationship and the intense public attention surrounding it had on her career and professional opportunities. Following the accident, officials provided updates as part of the standard investigative process. Medical authorities later confirmed that Heche had been declared brain dead. After organ donation procedures were completed, she was removed from life support. Officials ultimately ruled her death accidental. Given her long career, public profile, and connections within the entertainment industry, the tragedy remained a major topic of discussion and media coverage for an extended period. Just a few months later, another heartbreaking loss connected to the show generated widespread headlines. In December 2022, Stephen T-Witch Boss, widely known as the show's DJ and an executive producer, passed away at the age of 40. Authorities publicly confirmed the case and released their official findings. News coverage across the industry highlighted his reputation as an energetic, uplifting, and well-liked television personality whose presence had become a memorable part of the show's success and popularity over the years. His family later shared public statements expressing shock at the loss, with his wife describing his passing as completely unexpected. Other relatives also spoke with media outlets, saying that during their most recent interactions, he had seemed positive, engaged, and focused on the future. In early 2025, additional comments from family members brought renewed attention to the story when they discussed discovering information that suggested there may have been personal struggles that were not widely known to the public. The close timing of multiple high-profile losses connected to well-known figures led to ongoing public discussion and extensive online speculation. However, it is important to note that both cases were officially reviewed and authorities released documented findings regarding their conclusions. Even so, many viewers continued reflecting on the events as they processed the loss of people they had watched and followed for years. In early 2026, another major development captured headlines when authorities unsealed large collections of legal documents connected to a widely reported case. The release generated a fresh wave of media coverage and public interest. According to reports, the records contained extensive material and references involving numerous individuals from different industries and institutional settings, prompting renewed analysis, debate, and intense public attention as journalists and commentators examine the newly available information. It is critically important to keep one key distinction front and center in any discussion of released legal documents. The appearance of a person's name in court records, filings, or other publicly released materials does not automatically indicate wrongdoing. That point is essential and should be stated clearly whenever these topics are discussed. Names can appear in documents for many different reasons, and conclusions should never be drawn without supporting evidence and verified facts. When Ellen DeGeneres' name appeared in broader public conversations connected to widely reported cases, some commentators viewed the timing through a framework similar to arguments that Jim Caviezel and others had raised about the influence of major institutions and high-profile public figures. Their view was that individuals with significant cultural influence often attract increased scrutiny because of their visibility, reach, and public impact. At the same time, it is equally important to recognize that professional relationships, television appearances, industry events, interviews, and shared public interactions are routine parts of the entertainment business. By themselves, those connections do not suggest misconduct or imply involvement in any unrelated allegations. The cuddle-muggle moment, originally part of a lighthearted on-camera exchange, later became one of several clips revisited during broader retrospective discussions years afterward. As interest in past media appearances grew, some older moments were re-examined and discussed in new contexts by online audiences and commentators. As public attention intensified, media outlets began taking a closer look at a range of high-profile figures and long-running industry stories. In separate legal matters that received extensive coverage, Sean "Diddy" Combs faced federal criminal charges in 2024, leading to widespread reporting and continued public scrutiny as court proceedings unfolded. Coverage of the case remained a major focus across news and entertainment media. Harvey Weinstein's legal cases also remained a major reference point in discussions about power, influence, and accountability within the entertainment industry. Those proceedings became some of the most closely followed cases in modern Hollywood history and had a lasting impact on public conversations about workplace conduct and institutional responsibility. At the same time, it is important to evaluate each case based on its own documented facts, evidence, and legal findings. Many public figures attend the same industry events, appear at the same functions, and move within overlapping professional circles. Professional proximity alone should not be treated as evidence of shared actions or shared responsibility. Around the period when the 2026 document releases generated renewed public interest, reports indicated that Ellen DeGeneres was spending time in the United Kingdom. Some commentators pointed to the timing in their analysis, while others cautioned against drawing conclusions. Interpretations varied widely, and speculation alone should not be viewed as proof of any particular claim or narrative. Caviezel's ongoing public. Commentary about what he views as systemic issues within large and influential institutions often relies on broad, metaphorical language. He has described structures that, in his opinion, continue functioning regardless of changes in individual leadership, tend to protect established interests, respond carefully to scrutiny, and play a major role in determining which stories receive widespread attention and which remain largely out of public view. Importantly, he presents these views as personal perspectives shaped by his professional experiences and observations rather than as direct evidence against specific individuals. His comments have become a recurring part of interviews, public appearances, and discussions surrounding his work. Observers have noted that several high-profile legal cases over the past decade appeared to follow a pattern in public awareness. In some instances, early reports received limited attention before attracting far greater coverage once official investigations, court filings, or legal proceedings created formal mechanisms for public review and accountability. The reasons for those shifts can vary from case to case, but the pattern itself has been widely discussed. As additional verified information becomes available through official channels, including court records and other public documents, public understanding of complex stories can continue to evolve. New evidence, confirmed facts, and legal developments often reshape how people interpret events over time. One phrase Caviezel has repeated for years in interviews and public settings is "a very, very dark place." A description he has consistently used when discussing his broader concerns about powerful institutions and the culture surrounding them. At the time, some people completely dismissed those remarks, while others listened carefully and treated them as worth watching over time. Looking back, major events, investigations, and public controversies have caused many observers to revisit earlier comments with a different perspective. Statements that once received little attention can sometimes take on new meaning when viewed alongside later developments and documented facts. As of now, only portions of materials connected to widely reported cases have become publicly available, while other records remain sealed or unavailable for public review. The possibility that additional information could emerge has continued to drive public interest and ongoing debate across news outlets, social media platforms, and online communities. At its core, the broader discussion is about transparency, accountability, and how much insight the public has into institutions that hold significant cultural influence. Questions about power, public trust, media coverage, and access to information continue to fuel conversation as people evaluate new developments and compare them against what was previously known. What do you think? As more information potentially becomes public in the months ahead, what changes do you expect to see? Will future documentation reshape public perceptions of major institutions and the people who operate within them? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates.